pronators, guys that don't spin the ball that well, but spin it efficiently, and supinators, guys that spin it really well, but don't spin it efficiently, isn't as set in stone as people realize. And the more I talk to pitching coaches about some of these pitchers at the top of the draft last year, including Bremner and Gage Wood and Jamie Arnold and some of these other names, a lot of that came up. But there's things that can change here. And so I'm a big Doyle believer. I've drafted him all over. I've taken him over Anderson. I just believe in the stuff. And he's a nut. There's also some New England bias. He's a New England guy. He's a New Hampshire guy. He's got a little rough around the edges. And I've known some people that have trained Doyle and worked with him. And the work ethic and the mentality is crazy. It was described to me, and I've used this a few times. I might have used it with Welsh the other day. The guy that trained him after his freshman year at Coastal described his mentality in the gym as Billy Madison on the playground playing dodgeball. He was just absolutely dominating in the gym and talking smack to 14-year-old kids. He doesn't care. And I think
he's a young Jeff Ponce.
Yeah, he's such a competitor that I kind of love it. So I'm all in on Doyle. We'll see where it goes. Other guys here, I love Jackson Wiggins stuff. We'll see if he can stretch out and stay healthy for a full season. He's really never done that, including college. Last year was his highest inning total, I think, of his life. That's a little concerning. Could end up in the bullpen. I think Tanner McDougal, we got him onto the top 100 at 100. That was me really stumping for it. There's command here. There's power. There's good stuff. He took a huge step forward last year. I actually think the White Sox pitching development is pretty good with Brian Bannister in the fold. They've done a good job of getting those guys to their best selves. So I have a lot of belief in McDougal as well. And I think he's a guy that could potentially debut in 2026 as well and see some innings with the White Sox. So a lot of good pitchers in this mix, though. I mean, Robbie Snelling could have a good year. I'm always interested in what Connor Pralip can do and his ability to spin it. Thomas White, of course, though he's hurt and there's been some command issues. Some of these other guys, I think all of them have viable chances of contributing this year. It's just going to depend. Some of them, I think, on batted ball luck.
So really impressive sell job on Liam Doyle. I
should be his agent.
I'm going to bump him up. I'm going to bump him up based on that sell job. But just a more broad question just about the draftees. Obviously we got Cade Anderson, Liam Doyle, Jamie Arnold, Bremner. I don't think Witherspoon has any chance to get into the big leagues this year, but just a loaded college pitching crop. I mean, more because of the Red Sox depth chart than Witherspoon, but in this new sort of era where these blue chip prospects coming from college, it just seems like the timeline is just as sped up as it's ever been. And I definitely think, last year's college hitting class may go down as a really special one, or 2024's college hitting class. But just the fact that we saw, 3 of those guys spend a ton of time in the big leagues last year, plus Chase Burns. I think we will see some of these college arms make it up this year, just depending on who's pitching the best, who has the clearest path into their team's rotation. Is that something that we should kind of be prepping for? Is if Liam Doyle has a good first couple months, if Jamie Arnold has a good first couple months, same thing with Cade Anderson, these guys are going to need less than a full year in the minors.
Yeah. And this kind of gets back to kind of a core belief of mine, and especially when it comes to FYPD. And I think you kind of see this within my rankings, and that is I push up high school players, high school position players. I believe in high school position players. I think the best talent in America comes from the high school part of the draft in terms of those guys can turn into superstars. And I think college pitching. And my big sell on college pitching is this. When you are in the minor leagues as a hitter, you can go and hit off the trajectory machine. I can go and I can hit Garrett Cole's best fastball. I can go and I can then face bullpen guys. I can't replicate facing a tough lineup in a really hostile environment, but I can do that in the SEC, right? If I'm pitching the SEC, I'm LSU, I'm at Arkansas, I'm going to these different environments. They want to beat us. And I'm the Friday night guy. They want to see me get ripped up, right? And I'm facing good lineups, maybe not pro hitters, but it might be the closest I'm going to see to pro hitters because all these guys are swinging a metal bat. And the way these metal bats are playing right now, they're playing as big as they used to play when there was the drop 5 generation, the bats that we were swinging when we were kids that probably, gave us disease or something when we were 60. But, they're swinging those. So even their mistakes, they can mishit something to the opposite field, be behind a 97 mile per hour fastball, and it sneaks over the wall. That doesn't happen in pro ball, right? So I think because of that, so many of these guys have already kind of proven that they can get through those battles, the ability to pitch deep into games and to help your team win. And I think that's really a difficult thing to get a grasp on with pitching in the minor leagues, especially guys that, haven't been in the minors for 3 or 4 years, don't have a really good track record. And I think when it comes to these guys, you've already had those most of the time 3 years in college, maybe pitching in the bullpen for the first year, a little bit as a midweek starter. Then you go into the weekend rotation as a sophomore, and then as a junior, and you're making these big starts in big moments in big games. I think that's really hard to replicate in the minor leagues. I go to minor league games all the time. People don't care. There's maybe 2 or 3 guys that are heckling you out there. But the people there in the stands are there to eat hot dogs and, wear their favorite team's jersey and have a memorable night at the ballpark. They're not there, bleeding purple and gold, for the LSU Tigers and want to see the Arkansas Friday night starter give up 8. It's just not how it is. So I think all that stuff kind of plays into a factor. So these guys mentally, even beyond all the other elements of stuff and strikes, mentally, I think a lot of them are already at a point where they can go in, they can handle a big league environment and execute their pitches. So that's kind of my sell job on all these college starters. And I'll say we got another group coming down the pike next year that's really good.